Welcome to our latest Wandering Walks of Wonder Museum tour. Today we're headed to Discovery Park of America and Heritage Park in Union City, Tennessee. This is the second part of a tour of this museum. Go and take a look at my video on the museum itself, where today's video we're going to focus on the Heritage Park portion of Discovery Park. Discovery Park itself was the visionary dream of Robert and Jenny Kirkland, and the museum opened up on November 1st, 2013. The first part of our tour here at the Heritage Park at Discovery Park Museum is what's known as the settlement. The settlement features nearly a dozen structures, including farmhouses, a corn crib, tool barn, smokehouse, hog barn, loom house, doctor's cabin, and many more. This collection of hand-hewn log buildings resembles what one might have found in a mid-19th century frontier settlement in this part of Tennessee. These buildings were generously donated to Discovery Park by families from around the region and were moved here to this settlement. The logs are original and joined at the corners using what's called a camphor and notch system. Most of the logs in the settlement are made out of poplar, although there were a few oak logs in the loom house as well as the tool barn, and the doctor's cabin is made of American chestnut logs. As we journey through the settlement, we get a look inside some of these structures, these log structures, and learn a little bit about the history of the area. One of the statues that we'll see here in just a little bit, and very reminiscent of the history of this area, is talking about David Crockett. Crockett is an American folk hero, frontiersman, soldier, and politician who lived in western Tennessee from about 1822 to 1835.
It seems so long since I've played in the sun. I saw Daddy cry today. Thought I couldn't sing, but I saw it. They tell me I have spells. My body seems to have a mind of its own and moves wildly in a rage. My heels hitting my head and pulling my knees back to my chin. They tell me it's been 3 years past since I played in buttercups outside. I'm 11 years old today. They tell me the spells I've been having have stopped being so severe, but I've fallen asleep. I wake up 3 times in the morning and 3 times in the afternoon. However, I can't stay awake more than 5 to 10 minutes at a time. My breathing becomes so shallow. I become so weak.
The next area that we're going to be going through is known as Mill Ridge. Mill Ridge features the Brewer Austin Mill, the Seagroom Smithy Shop, Hugh Wade's Feed Store, an original one-room schoolhouse, a double outhouse, and a windmill. The Brewer Austin Mill features an actual grist mill originally used in the Massingen Mill, which is about 25 miles northeast of Knoxville. The Massingen Mill was first opened in 1796, and the mill, now at Discovery Park, was first installed in 1816. The schoolhouse that we're looking at once stood about 6 miles west of here from Discovery Park, and is one of the last one-room schoolhouses that was to be found in the region. Also, as we go along this part of the tour, we're going to see a windmill, which is a 1933 Aeromotor Model 702 windmill that originally stood on the Harris Farm just a few miles here from Discovery Park. It was donated in 2012 by the family of Hubert Samuel Harris, who was a salesman for the Aeromotor Company, selling windmills throughout the region from the 1920s until the 1950s. The next area that we're going to explore here in Discovery Park is known as Freedom Square. Freedom Square takes its inspiration from an early 20th century small town Main Street. In this area, we'll take a look at Liberty Hall, a barber shop, a firehouse, as well as a drugstore. Along the way, we'll see this paved walkway, which is known as the Walk of Heroes. And here we see statues such as Prometheus, Ayn Rand, Thomas Jefferson, Abraham Lincoln, and Ronald Reagan. We're now heading inside an old firehouse building. Two fire engines can be found inside this building: a 1915 American La France fire engine and a 1926 American La France Type 75 fire engine. Both of these engines were purchased new and shipped to Union City in September of 1925, and they remained in service for many years. The next building that we're entering is known as Liberty Hall. Liberty Hall pays tribute to the courthouses or municipal buildings of the early 20th century. As we walk inside, the Great Seal of the United States hangs on the front of the building, and inside, guests can still ring the tower bell that was originally used in Union City's first public school. Right away, we see a full-scale replica of the Liberty Bell that stands right in the center of the rotunda of Liberty Hall. This bell was cast by a Petit and Fritzen bell foundry of the Netherlands, and it took over a year to cast. Petit and Fritzen first opened in 1660, making it one of the oldest family-owned businesses in the Netherlands. The final area we're going to explore is a replica of a depot, as well as an old train and an old passenger train that we're going to walk through here in just a few minutes. The depot was modeled after two historic train stations, the Matson Switch, which was located nearby between Woodland Mills, Tennessee and Hickman, Kentucky, and the Cookeville Train Depot in Cookeville, Tennessee. This is an appropriate place for a depot because a portion of the Nashville, Chattanooga, and St. Louis Railroad track that connected Hickman, Kentucky to Union City, Tennessee once ran through the property where Discovery Park now sits. Because of its central location between New Orleans and Canada in the early 20th century, the nearby town of Fulton, Kentucky became an important point for the railroad's distribution system. In fact, over 70% of the bananas that were consumed in the United States once passed through Fulton, and it became known as the banana capital of the world. Some of the cars that we're seeing, the trains that we're seeing, are a 1913 steam engine, a coal tender, and a caboose. The bright red caboose was manufactured in 1946 and was used by Gulf Mobile and Ohio Railroad. One of the cool things is, and you'll probably hear it a little bit if some of the kids are playing around with it, is you can still pull the cord of the train whistle and it will blow just like it did more than 100 years ago when the steam engine was in operation. As we walk through a passenger car, you'll see that some of the words that are on the walls, as well as some of the plaques that we see, are not in English. That's because these cars were manufactured and were originally operated in Sweden by the Swedish State Railway System.
You'll see some instructions in Swedish as you explore this train. That's because these cars were manufactured and originally operated in Sweden by Swedish State Railways.
Trains play an important part here in western Tennessee. And that's because Jonathan Luther, or Casey Jones, was born just 10 miles from Discovery Park in Casey, Kentucky, and took his nickname from the name of his town. Jones was famous for breaking speed records in order to make deliveries by train on time. After his death in a train crash, his body was found with one hand on the whistle and the other on the brake.
Because of the increase in automobile interstate travel, the introduction of jetliners, and the modernization of airports. It became quicker and easier to drive or fly where you wanted to go, and trains suffer the consequences. Thankfully, this incredible example of a passenger train has been restored to its former glory, and is here at Discovery Park of America for you to explore. As you exit the cars, be sure to visit the steam engine, coal tender, and caboose located across the platform. Thanks to steam engines like the 1913 one you'll experience here, traveling by rail and transporting goods became quicker, easier, and more affordable. Always wanted to drive a train? Now's your chance. Be sure to hop over the driver's seat and take her for an imaginary spin. Be sure to hold the cord and blow the whistle to let everyone know you're coming down the track. The brand manufactured in 1946 was used by Gulf Mobile and Ohio Railroad. After being removed from service, it was received by Tom E. and sat on his farm for 30 years before it was put on display next to the old Union City Depot. It's on loan from the O'Brien County Joint Economic Development Council.
He like running around in a circle around your apartment.
The colors of the cars. They've been painted with the logos and colors of the
come on.
railroad companies that were most active in this area. The Gulf Mobile and Ohio Railroad, the Illinois Central Railroad, and the Louisville and Nashville Railroad. chug into the station so you could arrive home or join friends and family there to pick you up. And that happened frequently in Union City, as this was the junction of two very popular railroad lines. In fact, the town's founder originally wanted to call the area Junction City, but since the name was already taken, it was decided that Union City would be the next best choice.
I hope you've enjoyed this Wandering Walks of Wonder Museum tour here in Discovery Park and Heritage Park in Union, Tennessee. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, and we will see you on our next Wandering Walks of Wonder Museum tour. Take care now. Bye-bye.